Hello, Sofa Squad, and welcome back to the damn sofa. That's the damn sofa, and that's my damn sassy sidekick, Mr. Roscoe P. Coltrane. And my damn name is Paul. Now, today we are finishing out The Staircase, the HBO series, The Staircase, the docudrama. Y'all, it was good. We're going to be covering 2 episodes in this video, chapters, or, 7 and 8 or whatever. So that's what we're doing. Now, if you've been following me on this little journey over here, basically what I do is I just have my phone and I watch 7 and 8, and so I just make notes. I'm going to go through that and just kind of read through them, do that type of thing, and just make commentary along the way about them. So that's what we do. We will do a live chat now that we've done all this. I know it's kind of like already been over or whatever, but it's just, if you follow me, it's been a crazy month working, all that kind of stuff, so it's taken me a little bit of time. Before we get started, y'all, we have a Sofa Squad member who hit me up and was like, I have an Etsy shop. I want to send you something for Roscoe. You already know. I was like, girl, let me see. Y'all are going to die over this, okay? If you're paying attention, you can probably already see one of them. First of all, there's, little Mr. P. Coltrane right there. Look at his little pillow. Is that not adorable? Brace yourselves for this. Hold on, I'm going to stand up. First of all, whole place. Look at this. Y'all look. Is that not adorable? His little... Oh my God. So cute, y'all. It's... Here, pardon me. Can you see it or not? It's the Cotton Candy Otter Etsy shop. She specializes in dog gifts. So adorable. Y'all go check her stuff out. I'm going to put the link down below. Thank you so much, Bev. Roscoe loves his pillow. I love my shirt. I'm going to put the pen. I wanted to wear it for the video so I could put it, on here, but I'm going to put it on his little bear back there so that he has a hold please button. I love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. And also thank you to everybody who makes the channel possible. Y'all, it would not be here without you. The sofa wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. Ross wouldn't be here. We thank you so much for making the Sofa Squad the place to be. I greatly appreciate everyone who makes this such a wonderful community. Now, that being said, let's go ahead. Let me pull up my little notes on 7 and 8. Y'all, I ripped through these 2. I was just like, oh my God. Oh my God. I mean, it takes my breath away even right now, right? Okay, so let's see here where we go. Here we go. So, Staircase, episode 7. So the opening scene is a man assaulting another man. Now, this is something I had no idea about that happened, y'all. And I was going and looking, and this is what I was like, thank God. I never knew this about this case. It just makes it that much more bizarre. And so what I'm talking about is Dennis Rowe being murdered by the other dude who he, I guess, slept with or whatever. On the live chat, I'll go more into that because it's a whole other case, right? It's a whole other case. And what's interesting is that when you unearth the Michael Peterson saga, how many cases are beneath this man's name, right? Now, I'm not saying that Michael Peterson had something to do with the murder of Dennis Rowe or the other dude, but just all that went on behind this, where it was like, oh my God, and this happens, right? I mean, if I'm correct off the top of my head, it had to do basically because this guy was outed, so he killed Dennis Rowe or whatever. I could be wrong, don't hold me to it. Like I said, we'll talk about in the live. Let's keep going through this. Now, Peterson, so the next thing we see, Peterson saying he doesn't want an Alfred plea. He doesn't want to say he killed Kathleen. Here is my thing with that. Pardon me. And I personally think that Peterson was just playing a game. I think he always knew what he was going to do. He was going to take the first chance he could to get out. And he was just running up to the edge of the whole thing with the attention of it. I don't want to say I didn't do something and and yada, yada, yada. I think personality types like Peterson take all the information that they can get and they utilize that to their benefit. And so him knowing, okay, this is what I have to work with. This is how far I can take it. And I think that's what he was doing, right? Because even in the original documentary, the follow-ups to it, we saw him doing this, right? Okay, so then we see the sisters, and who I'm talking about are the Ratliff girls. talking, and one of them is going to Germany, and it causes a fight. Now remember, she's going over there, I believe it was Martha is going, and Margaret's like, don't go, don't go, don't go. Well, she doesn't want her to go because she knows she's going to find out all these secrets about Michael Peterson that she hasn't wanted her to know. And she's kind of like being the protective big sister, so there's that. Then we start seeing they start weaving in the storyline of the misconduct by Dwayne Deaver, by the Innocence Project of North Carolina, and they're discovering, like, wait a minute, because remember, it wasn't just Michael Peterson. They found Michael Peterson's situation by the wrongdoing of the SBI, right? Through another investigation of another case. And that's when they started researching this and going into it, and they discovered, well, wait a second, here we are. Here's Dwayne Deaver. I keep calling it Dweaver. Dwayne Deaver. And all that he's done, right? So we see the unraveling of that, which I liked that they portrayed that so we could see kind of how that worked. Because, y'all, the fact that that played out the way that it did, Michael Peterson should consider himself very lucky, right? Okay, we see Dennis Rowe dead. Then we see a meeting with a medical examiner saying blunt force trauma. A flashlight was used and there was no skull fracture, so Kathleen's death is no longer an anomaly. Peterson's girlfriend discovers it was Dennis Rowe. Okay, now this part, again, I did not know this, so this was a new one to me. I don't know if this was real or not, or if this was just fictionalized. If this is the case, I'm like, oh, whoa, because remember, this is a huge thing for Peterson's defense, is saying, of all these blunt force traumas, they all had skull fractures except for Kathleen's. So it had to be, something else. And then this comes up with this scenario. And the wounds look the same, the whole 9 yards. It was done with a flashlight. So this is like major, right? Now, also being portrayed through this is Peterson's girlfriend, the editor or whatever, Sophia, is kind of doing her own investigating. She's learning all this stuff and starting to come to terms of like, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe Peterson's not who he says he is, but we'll get deeper into that. Okay, so then we see a scene of Kathleen a few days before her death at a mall shopping. She buys the reindeer, the, famous reindeer. She buys a pricey watch. She pays for the reindeer with 2 credit cards. So one thing that we see going on a lot in this whole portrayal of this is the spending of money. Basically seeing that, they were running very low on funds. Even if they were still doing well, having that many kids all going through college, you already know kids are expensive, right? This much going on, that's very pricey. So for her to be the sole provider of the family and to have someone like Michael Peterson leeching off of her, who has very expensive taste, and her being the type to be like, let me get him a nice watch, let me, do this and do that. It just, my heart goes out for her, how much she was putting into, not only emotionally, but financially, into this relationship. Okay, so let's keep going. Now, Mike gets a call from an agent about selling the rights to the book. Now, here's the thing right here. And I put a note farther down. Well, I'll wait to say it. So we hear this. Now, all along through this, I was like, oh, great, he's going to sell this book. This is going to be a new stream of income. This is wonderful. So we'll get to that. Martha arrives in Germany. She goes to her home and sees the stairs. That had to be spooky for her. That had to be just, my God, and hearing from these people who knew her as a child, knew the Petersons, the whole 9 yards, seeing Patty and whatnot. We're shown a scene of a wrongful conviction woman, and she goes to a laundromat, and Frida Black is working. I am dying to know if she really worked at a laundromat. And then we see a scene of her having drinks with Frida. She's questioning her. We see Sophia interview a guy, and she finds out how many people Mike was screwing. Now, this is the part. We see all these interviews going on, right? So Frida's working in a laundromat. She's kind of washed up. She clearly still has a very bad drinking problem. Remember, this is what would take her out. And then we see Sophia going around interviewing, and she's finding out that it's like, Mike has slept with a lot of guys. He was lying through his teeth about this. This is the beginnings of her starting to realize, like, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? Not all is what it's meant, was supposed to be. Then we see Martha talking to a woman and finding out how Mike and Patty bounce them around and try to split them up and give them away. She confronts Patty, and it's just weird. Patty's relationship with Michael Peterson has always struck me as very odd. I don't know what's up with that. I'm honestly surprised she's passed from natural causes at this point. I'm surprised she survived him is what I'm getting at. I don't know. Maybe she just played his fan long enough, because I feel like you have to be a fan of Michael Peterson's to stay in his life, right? So there's that. Mike tells Kathleen about the movie option, and it's for 10 grand. This is what I was waiting for. When they said it was for 10 grand, and you could see like, oh, great. Y'all, they probably throw parties that they run up a tab of $10,000. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like, well, here, I'm helping. And it's like, really? Her life is falling apart financially. And he's just easygoing, So there's that. Sophia goes to see Mike Peterson at prison by surprise. She tells him about Dennis Rowe and that he was killed by another man that Mike slept with. He admits that he lied about Dennis. She says she won't share him, and she goes back to Paris. So this is the thing. So she's laid it out on the thing. Like, I'm not going to share you like that. And again, we see Michael Peterson. He's painted into a corner, so he's going to admit one little thing. Okay, I lied about Dennis. You know what I'm saying? Like, I lied about Dennis. And that's, I think, a realization that this documentary or this docudrama shows, is the realization that all those around Michael Peterson have to come to, is that this man is a huge liar. And one unspoken thing about it is the thing that everyone probably had to come to their own realization in their own mind, that while nobody probably really is ever going to be able to 100% say what happened, you know what I'm saying? Like, they all can kind of connect the dots, right? And what they have to do with that in their own heads, if that makes sense. Okay. Then we see a scene of cops arresting Deaver, which I loved. And it shows Greg Taylor. That's Greg Taylor is the case of the innocent man who was in jail because of the blood splatter stuff and the lying and all that. The blood that was on a car. And it wasn't actually blood, but they lied and said it was, and that put him in jail for a very long time. That covers Blown. We see Peterson's attorney dishing tea on Dwayne Deaver. This is the origins of how Mike got out. So that's all going on in this episode, right? And I just basically explained it. So there's that. Okay, Kathleen. There's a scene of Kathleen. She gets called into the office and told there's no bonuses, and she basically starts like laughing. Y'all, the actress playing her, I can't think of her name right now, Toni Collette. Amazing. Y'all, she should win something for this, right? And so should the guy playing Mike Peterson. The acting is top notch in the show, y'all. Top notch. So when she does this and she starts a hysterical laughing, and she's like, I just watched my retirement go away. She's watching the stocks just go away, and you're just like, oh my god. And we know she has no idea herself, obviously, that she's going to be murdered in a few days. Mike meets her at a Chinese restaurant after this. Now they're celebrating the whole movie option thing, right? So he's late from the gym. Remember, this is a thing because he's probably hooking up with guys, and then they argue about money, and he berates her about being stressed out, that she's no longer fun, and she calls him out for spending her money and doing nothing to earn his keep. Y'all, this is one of the scenes where I'm like, give her a damn Emmy or whatever you call it for TV. She did such an amazing job, because I was like, okay, so for example, none of us are here to have seen that argument between her and Mike. It was like we were peering into a private moment. It gives me goosebumps. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, the anger and the rawness was so real, right? She's just coming from watching her whole life savings, her whole plans drain away, to a man who's been screwing God knows who at the gym, or wherever he's been, right? He's gotten a little option for a movie for 10 grand, right? This is like, really? Seriously? Then spending her money left and damn right, not doing a damn thing for anything. It was a magnificent scene. Okay, so she drives home angry. She goes upstairs. He stays in the car. The shower doesn't work. She gets the leaf blower. She goes to the attic and blows all the bats out. I honestly thought something was going to happen here and he was going to snap. And there's all this time we're seeing him doing this whole thing of waiting in the car, listening to this music that reverts back to his childhood scene, which will become prevalent in the last episode. Now shown the night before the retrial hearing, it's like a family reunion, so all the kids are coming into town. Everyone's kind of moved on, right? So that being said, we're going to move into the last episode now. So this is episode 8. Okay, now I'm just going to take a quick sip of water here. Okay. So the night before the hearing, the family are all hanging out. Martha comes out to Margie. Todd is making his online biz. So one thing that we see is Todd's doing this whole online biz thing that apparently he still does, right? He's kind of cheesy. He seems very fake. He's doing the whole online thing where he's like, hi, some of you reached out to me. And you're starting to see the origins, which is like this weird celebrity that comes from situations like this, right? Because, and you even see when Seymour Clayton's like, don't you think some of the people are watching you because of Dad? And he's like, well, yeah, and it's just like, I mean, hey, whatever, what I'm saying, to each their own, like, get your, whatever you got to do, right? But on the same note, it's just weird to watch, and granted, this is the docudrama, so it didn't probably go down this exact way, but nonetheless, if you've been following this case and you've seen some of his recent stuff, like the real Todd Peterson on his real social media, it ain't far off the mark, okay? He's had some severe meltdowns on there lately, and he's deleted them since, but anyways, so there's a scene of Kathleen at work watching the stock plummet. Mike sends email to her. He has tickets to a Christmas ball. Says, let's work on our marriage tonight. Now we'll get into it. Okay, well, no, we won't, because the next thing. So this is one thing that I think is interesting that they portray with them is, there's all this stuff going on, and this can be said for a lot of people, right? Me, everybody, right? So the house is in ruins, financials, all this stuff, and here's Mike. I got us tickets to the ball, probably with her money, you know what I'm saying? And then it is like, okay, let's put everything aside, let's go do blank. And he comes home and she's getting dressed and she's having her drink, and he comes home and he takes her at the and honestly I was like, if he bends her over at her damn makeup thing and tosses her damn salad and her Christmas dress, I am done. Okay, I am done. There is only, like, you can only pull off a toss into the salad scene one time, if that, right? Okay? Like, I was like, if they do multiple tossing salad scenes in this thing, I'm just like, I'm done. That's it. Anyways, he doesn't. He gives her a proper pounding, and then they go off to the damn Christmas ball. Now, one thing that was interesting, and again, I don't know if this is real or not, but he sees Jim Harding there. Now, also, Kathleen will see Frida in the bathroom. So you see how these, like, little inner workings are there? Now, obviously, at this point, Jim Harding would have known that Mike Peterson is a liar, and he lost that political thing, so there's already that embarrassment. So Mike and Kathleen have this wonderful time. They close the party down, the whole 9 yards. And it is, you can see this dynamic of how she and why she is in love with him. And there's even, and I might have put it in here, I don't remember, but there's a scene where she's getting her makeup done at the mall. I think it was the last episode. And she's talking to this guy at the makeup counter who's doing her makeup, and he's talking about basically his boyfriend broke up with him. And she's like, yeah, well, I'm with one now. It was a real piece of work. And I forget how she said it, but basically like he's, crazy but wonderful at the same time, basically that kind of a thing, that type thing. I mean, basically if you've been with like a narcissist or sociopath kind of person, like almost those two things, and she's describing this, and you can see that because clearly there was something about him that drew him to her to him. And so it's these times like this where you can see that, where they're having fun and they're dancing and they're doing this and blah, 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 blah. So there's that. Anyways, so the day of the Alfred play, so then there's this whole thing. And again, this is another wonderful way that the director or whoever does an excellent job with. They're mixing scenes from the day of the Alfred play, and hold on, with the day of the retrial hearing. So the retrial hearing is years earlier, the judge deciding, can he get a retrial? Kathleen's sister comes, Michael Peterson's family comes, Kathleen's daughter Caitlin comes, her other sister comes, and I can't remember her name, but I just know that the one sister, Candace, it was the outspoken one or whatever, probably more confident speaking. She comes also to the Alfred play, so you see the two things. Now, you can find this footage, number one, on the updated staircase documentary stuff, but it's out there. And it's very accurate. And so they're going between the two things, right? And she reads Michael Peterson to filth. Imagine how you would feel, not only to the state of North Carolina, to the Durham County, but to Michael Peterson, if your sister was murdered in the way that she was, and you were watching a man walk out of prison because the blood splatter guy lied about it. Guy on the stand lied. Literally, how would you would want to just go off? A smug person like him, please. Anyways, okay, so here we go. So she speaks out, she goes off, the retrial hearing, she makes Dwayne Deaver look like a total... And this is the thing. This is where it came in handy for Michael Peterson, allowing the cameras to come in and film this whole documentary, because his defense team, Roscoe just jumped down, he agrees, he's like, yeah, Dwayne Deaver, I'm out of here. His defense team was able to go through and get all this footage and put up, and it makes Dwayne Deaver look like a complete total tool, which he is, okay? So there's that. So obviously Michael gets the retrial, he gets that, and he eventually will plead to an Alford plea, which is essentially saying, I'm not saying I'm guilty or innocent, but I am saying that you have enough evidence to convict me if I go to trial. And so he will eventually plead to that, and he is free. This is where we see the kids have kind of moved on. Like, for the Alfred hearing, they didn't come, and this is like a big ego blow to him, but he's like, I told them not to. Okay, so there's that. So at dinner, after he gets out, and this is the initial, just for the hearing, which when that happens and all that, he gets to walk out, we see that Mike is choosing Clayton over Todd. So this weird dynamic happens, because remember, it used to be Michael chose Todd over Clayton, and Todd was the golden child. Well, Clayton has turned his life around, he's married, he has children, and now Todd is like, this is all adding up to this very, very subliminal vein being put into the documentary. Okay, so... and we'll get into this. Todd gets trashed over dinner. It gets awkward, like cringy awkward. Margie orders cheesecake and Mike snaps at her. Margaret confides to her sister about Mike wanting to separate them, but we already know she knows this, but she doesn't tell her that she knows. So there's that. This is all very weird, and you're seeing beneath the surface of how things really are in this family with Mike. You know, him being the center of it all, and this bizarre, just gross energy that he permeates around him. Okay, so then Mike is staying with Sophia. They go home after dinner. They have sex, and it flashes to them when they're going back to the Alfred play. They're packing. So this is years later. They're getting ready to go to Paris, and he's watching another interview while Sophia's packing, and he's annoyed with her. So they get in a fight, and she too has been taking care of them. Mike admits he doesn't want to go to Paris, and he says he's done. And then we are shown a clip of an interview that was shown. Okay, so they get in this fight. He's like, I'm done, and all this stuff, and it's almost like the same thing that Kathleen went through. And she's just like, I've been taking care of you, I've been doing this. Mike goes from person to person getting taken care of. That is what he does. He's probably doing it right now. Because honestly, I don't know how the man's even employed, right? I mean, who's paying for his apartment? You know what I'm saying? That's my question. Anyways, so... let's go to this. Then we are shown a clip of an interview that was shown in the beginning. So in the beginning of this episode, he's like working with the documentary team, and it's this whole kind of weird thing where you can tell he recorded a clip, and he's like, just let, Sophia see it. And you can tell that the Jean is kind of weird about it. So now you finally get to see what he said on the video. And so Sophia has left the house. She's pissed. She's crying. She goes over to Jean, I don't know how you say his name. So this is what Mike says in the video, and this is major, and I do not know if this is true or not. Mike is saying that he used to play baseball. And he says that he talks about a moment that he realized he was bi, and about how he knew he had to hide it, and that his father found him and like a friend, I guess in the team or something, and his friend were messing around, and his dad beat him. And he says that from then on he lied about basically sexuality. He knew it was just easier to lie. And So then he said that he lied about Kathleen knowing. And this is major. And he basically said that she never knew about his gay side. He lied about it. And when asked directly if he killed Kathleen, he said it was an accident. That was major for me. Okay. Then it cuts to a scene of him and Kathleen back to the night of the accident, the murder. They're out by the pool. She's on a conference call. She has to go use Mike's email. And he's like, it's weird. And he's like, well, just wait till the morning. And she's like, she's on a conference call. And she's like, send it to Mike's email. There's this awkwardness. And he's like, well, yeah, you can send it. So she does. And he's like, well, just wait till the morning. And they go out to the pool, but it's a different conversation. Each time they show a theory, they have shown the same conversation out there. And it's happy, it's go-lucky. This isn't a happy-go-lucky conversation. It's almost like he's coming out to her. That's the vibe I got. I want to know what you think because I can't tell, right? So they go out there and they go outside. And there's a scene where she's like crying. And I think she's saying like, how could you? And she's going back in and you're just seeing this shot of him laying in the chair. And that's kind of it. And the end is though it's like he's coming out to her. Okay, then there's this other thing, and I feel like this came first or not. There's this scene where they're inside watching American Sweethearts because that's what they did that night. And we start seeing another theory. Todd comes to visit. And there's this kind of weird interaction. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to go down the theory of Todd killing her and Michael Peterson covering up for him. Because this was a whole thing, right? They don't go down that theory, but it just, if you follow the case, then you know that it hints at this. That's what I thought. And if you watch it, let me know what you think. Because I was like, oh my God, they are like, that's what they're thinking. So there's that. And like him and Todd go into a different room. I don't know. And the last scene of it is Mike in present time. Sophia's gone. He goes up to the bedroom. He gets his pictures of Kathleen out. He puts it next to the bed, old pictures. And he's just sitting there and he has this like smile like this, like duper's delight, if you will. And that's where it leaves off at. So it's this kind of ominous ending. So I'm like, did he really make this unreleased clip just for Sophia where he admits that he lied about Kathleen knowing if he was gay? Because if that's true, I mean, please. There is no doubt for anyone that it's like 100% he killed her if there was any doubt. But then they really play up to the whole thing with the Todd, where he's like shunning Todd in this episode. And then they just slightly show the whole thing about Todd stopping in earlier in the evening and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, that's why, because he's saying it was an accident and he really didn't do it, but Todd did, and he's covered up for him. And now he's pissed at Todd over it. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole thing. I'm just like, oh my God. Y'all, if you have not watched this, I don't care what you have to do. Go download the damn app, get the free trial, and then cancel it. Okay, y'all, this was amazing, okay? This is like grade A, top-notch, 5-star TV series right here. I cannot get you there. So what I'm going to do next, like I said, I'll probably do different lives on it on the other channel just to talk about the different things that I've been reading, like some of the articles and stuff about like Michael Peterson said and this and that, because there's so much. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed my commentary on this. Please let me know what you think in the comments. And 100% we're going to do a live chat and talk about this. Let me know what your theories are on episode 8. Y'all, I'm dying to know. Again, thank you to Bev for... This is so cute. Check out her Etsy shop down below. I mean, look at that. Look, even Roscoe wants to... Roscoe says thank you. Thank you. He says thank you. He came over here to say thank you. Anyways, I love y'all. I hope to talk to y'all soon. Listen to me. It's like we're neighbors, but we kind of are, aren't we? Anyways, next time we all get around the damn sofa with damn Roscoe and my damn name's Paul, we'll see you soon.